Back in 2000 at the World Bank, my co-founder and I crowdsourced ideas from over 1,000 social entrepreneurs to fight poverty. Community leaders came in from villages in Uganda and Aboriginal communities in Central America to showcase their work. Most had never entered the World Bank, nor had they had significant or reliable access to funding, or been able to connect with each other. We built Global Giving for those social entrepreneurs to catalyze a global market for ideas, information, and money that democratizes aid and philanthropy. We believe an open flow of ideas, information, and money democratizes the whole system of aid and philanthropy. By now, we've supported thousands of diverse organizations around the world that would otherwise not have the funds to carry out their work. We've worked with donors of all sizes, from $10 text message donors to corporate partners, who all seek more impact from their philanthropy. Our job is to connect them. 10 years in, we're at a powerful pivot point. We've established a robust business model, and we can now cover expenses on earned revenue alone. So we're now focused on maximizing social impact by building tools to help every social enterprise we touch to learn, grow, and evolve to a higher performance level. Global Giving spent the last decade working to give organizations all over the world access to a marketplace of philanthropy. Throughout this process, we've developed a culture that thrives on feedback. One of our core values is listen, act, learn, repeat. We continually experiment with all of our programs, and we're constantly developing new ways to listen to our customers, peers, and partners. There isn't enough money in aid and philanthropy out there to solve all the world's problems. But if we can help every organization we touch to become more effective, the same level of resources will reach more families, deliver more services, and solve more challenges. We aren't interested only in high-performing organizations. We believe firmly that any organization can do better. We want to provide the tools, incentives, and feedback loops that will help all of us increase our capacity, spur innovation, and deliver better results that meet the needs of our communities. $81 million has passed through Global Giving to thousands of projects worldwide. That flow will continue to grow, and everyone seeks more impact from that money. Global Giving is in a position to leverage capital so that the money is used most effectively by higher performing organizations. It's said of Steve Jobs that his gift lay in taking what was in front of him and ruthlessly refining it. He was a tinkerer. Imagine if we could let every organization connect as deeply as Apple has done with their users' needs so that they could endlessly tweak. We gather and share large amounts of data from thousands of organizations and tens of thousands of people playing all roles in philanthropy and development. Much of the data we have from our peers and constituents is codified, and we're standardizing and making accessible the rest. When that information is presented back to stakeholders in actionable ways, it opens up the possibility for all of us to be more effective at what we set out to do. We're not only helping our nonprofit partners become better fundraisers, we're helping them become more effective in creating sustainable change that meets the needs of their communities. We believe that the future of philanthropy is feedback. The same goes for international development. We've spent years developing a dashboard and scorecard to measure our work. We've crowdsourced this process, getting extensive feedback from partners, funders, and experts. And we've made huge gains in our own efficiency over this time. We pore over the data to track progress relative to our targets, but also to identify either negative or positive deviance early. We're now building similar dashboards into the systems that our project leaders use to manage their own work on Global Giving. The latest extension of this dashboard is constituent stories converted to data. We've trained more than 2,000 local scribes to collect over 35,000 answers to the question, "Tell us about a time when a person or an organization tried to change something in your community." Every month, we collect another 1,000 stories. We show this data to every project organization we work with directly, but our objective is to make it available to any organization engaged in community work. What's amazing is that we're breaking through the self-report bias that often prevents both philanthropy and development from having a larger impact. And it allows us to track whether resources are flowing to higher performing organizations, as well as to contribute more broadly to transparency and accountability. We've long measured ourselves against the obvious metrics: traffic, conversion rates, donor numbers, dollars raised, partner organizations, and the number of projects posted on our platform. But measuring our social impact goes beyond simply tracking the volume, magnitude, and diversity of our outreach. What makes global giving unique is the way we're exploring this issue of learning and curiosity as a measure of effectiveness. We've recently developed some additional metrics to monitor and evaluate our social impact, and we know that we're being successful if we see collaboration among constituents, projects, and donors through better feedback loops, better solutions developed through collaboration, experimentation, and information-driven decision-making, systems and platforms at scale that provide access and opportunity, and more resources going to higher performing organizations and social innovators. Most people probably understand global giving to be a transaction platform for processing donations. They might not know about the ways we're actively working to change the way that information, ideas, and money flow in the world of philanthropy and international development. The fee that we charge on donations made through our platform is not simply about covering the cost of the transaction. It's also about having the capacity to deliver tools that are helping organizations improve their effectiveness. Part of our commitment to effectiveness is sustainability. In 2011, we were for the first time operationally self-sufficient. We're committed to working in this space for the long haul, and our fee makes our model sustainable so that our impact can be long-term. Our real success is that we're now in a position to influence the market of philanthropy and aid. We've derived at values and created processes that enable us to help organizations and donors learn from each other. We're now going full speed ahead to push out social impact tools to our partner organizations. We're helping corporate partners learn about effective philanthropy, and we're helping communities' voices be heard by the people who serve them. We're in a great position to drive collaboration between players in the field. We have a reputation for not only being an honest broker, but a champion for collaboration. For the past 5 years, we've taken the lead in bringing together key stakeholders in the infrastructure of philanthropy and spearheading specific initiatives. One initiative is to develop a shared unique identification system for nonprofits worldwide. This key piece of back-end information would enable sharing of due diligence information, accurate tracking of flows of resources, and ultimately, performance. It's not an initiative with immediate returns for us, but it could form the basis for entirely new services and resources. When we started, people could barely imagine a virtual marketplace for philanthropy, let alone global philanthropy. Only a handful of large nonprofits were raising funds online. Most people didn't bank online, and social media hadn't even been invented yet. So when a journalist called us the eBay of philanthropy, the metaphor stuck. But that locked us, and some stakeholders too, into a very specific analogy. There were significant differences in the market for Pez dispensers and for global philanthropy. It took us a long time to escape the limitations of that metaphor. Second, for a long time we expected to try many different things until one of them would take off. We ultimately settled on 3 core audiences: individual donors, nonprofit organizations, and corporate partners. Each had potential to grow, though not dramatically. So over the years, we've just made sure that the three audiences reinforced and benefited each other. What started as a fundamental challenge, the lack of a silver bullet, has turned us into a resilient organization, safeguarding us against swings in any one particular market. The last challenge has been the need for capital. We've received $12 million in philanthropic capital over the years to cover what the nonprofit finance fund calls build capital. Over the last decade, it's been leveraged into over $81 million in donations, and now we have achieved 100% cost recovery, but there were some lean years in between. Our constituent storytelling pilot is now ready to be developed into a full-fledged product that will radically change the way people identify problems and formulate solutions in development. By creating faster and more robust feedback loops for any organization in the world, we can create a grid that will improve the transparency, accountability, and efficacy of flows of money far beyond our own reach. We're also ready to deepen our collaborative work. We are already collaborating with peer organizations on efforts like unique ID systems and common standards. These are building blocks for far greater collaboration across the sector and the ecosystem. Ultimately, this type of work can open up new possibilities about how assets and know-how are currently deployed in the nonprofit and philanthropic space. We'd also like to bring our site to mobile devices. In the developing world, it's easier to connect to the web via mobile devices, and our platform is not currently configured for project leaders using mobile. Bringing disbursement alerts and enabling updates via mobile devices will radically improve the accessibility of our site for project leaders worldwide. It will also ultimately improve the content that we can provide to donors and other stakeholders. Putting off investment in this area could unintentionally make the platform unusable by the very organizations we feel mission-bound to support, the emerging, small-scale organizations that have yet to unleash their full potential. Our constituent storytelling pilot is now ready to be developed into a full-fledged product that will radically change the way people identify problems and formulate solutions in development. By creating faster and more robust feedback loops for any organization in the world, we can create a grid that will improve the transparency, accountability, and efficacy of flows of money far beyond our own reach. We're also ready to deepen our collaborative work. We are already collaborating with peer organizations on efforts like unique ID systems and common standards. These are building blocks for far greater collaboration across the sector and the ecosystem. Ultimately, this type of work can open up new possibilities about how assets and know-how are currently deployed in the nonprofit and philanthropic space. We'd also like to bring our site to mobile devices. In the developing world, it's easier to connect to the web via mobile devices, and our platform is not currently configured for project leaders using mobile. Bringing disbursement alerts and enabling updates via mobile devices will radically improve the accessibility of our site for project leaders worldwide. It will also ultimately improve the content that we can provide to donors and other stakeholders. Putting off investment in this area could unintentionally make the platform unusable by the very organizations we feel mission-bound to support, the emerging, small-scale organizations that have yet to unleash their full potential.